Oh, yeah.
Oh, I sent the check-in for this. It was $30. Snowflake ball.
Okay.
No, I didn't read all
Yes. Yeah.
It's a corsage. All right, Bell.
Can you turn that? Can you shut that TV off? What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Hello, Nicholas Fonz. What's going on? Hey, Ian. Giving out $30. Oh. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Yes. And, whoops, I had to stream. There she is. Hello, co-host Lindsey.
Oh, don't mind me. It just took a lot longer to grab dinner than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, it happens. What are you going to do?
It happens that there's a blizzard.
Is it that bad out? Because like when I got home, it was just like starting to cover stuff.
It's all slush, the roads and stuff. So don't mind me. I'll be eating my Yamato Asian Bistro while we talk.
So everybody's kind of getting in. Hello, Amy.
Oh, I gotta get on.
I just
YouTube.
heard $30. Oh no, that no, that was my wife. Yes, you did hear $30, but we're not giving away $30.
But maybe we should be.
Have you seen my nutmeg book?
Nope. So this is, for those of you just joining us, welcome. This is going to be at least until Mad Hatter's like everybody's like $30. The MLB lockout funds, Aurelie, I am going to talk about probably ad nauseum at one point. Yeah.
Not sports, not baseball.
I mean, there's not like, oh, that looks really good.
My sweet potato maki.
You know, I have my own opinion on the lockout, but I have some other things actually related to baseball because obviously, they'd be in spring training right now and that's not happening. So it's kind of tough to talk about, players and how you think teams are really going to do without.
I'm sick of them being a bunch of whiners. Like,
right? So
baseball's losing. It's losing viewership because the games are so damn long. So like, let's cut the season down. Let's cut the game. Like, let's change all these. I don't understand what's the problem. Don't you want to get paid?
All right, so let's talk about MLB. I wasn't sure when we were going to get to this, but I'm like, all right. So what it comes down to is the billionaires and the millionaires are now fighting to see who's going to make more money, right? And and we are at a standstill. This seems to be I feel like we're on the precipice of this every time the contract negotiations come up. I'm like, oh, here comes the lockout, because it seems to be like we're knocking at the door more and more frequently. So, they need to really quit being, both sides need to quit just whining, go make millions and billions of dollars and start entertaining people. Now, you actually bring up a point I was going to talk about, and you make a really good case, and you didn't even know it, right? So for decades and decades, baseball was America's sport, right? But let's face the facts. The NFL has now become America's most popular sport. You can look at the TV ratings, look at the amount of money that each league is netting.
Hockey. Come on.
Right? So, we can look at all these different factors and just know that baseball is no longer America's sport. It may be America's pastime, but in terms of sports, it has gone by the wayside. So how do you solve that problem? This is the perfect opportunity, I think, for baseball to solve this problem.
If they're going to, or are they just going to what? It's like everything.
Well, no,
like
they're not going to. They should, but they're not going to. Right? So what makes the NFL relevant? Outside of the whole sport itself is, I think, people find fascinating, right? And there's a lot to it. But what makes the NFL really good is that
it's quick-paced.
Right, so it's fast-paced, and you only have 17 games a year before your playoffs, which means every game is crucial.
Right.
So baseball's first step is to do exactly what the lockout is forcing. They need to reduce the amount of games.
Yeah.
They do. They need to play from from Memorial Day to Labor Day, right? Each team needs to have somewhere between 95 and 103, 4, 5 games, right? So now you're going to cut like 80 some odd games out of baseball, which means every game counts for more. And your playoffs now start in early September as opposed to late October. So you're going to have the nice weather. You're going to be able to play your sports and attract your fans where they're not going to be freezing cold, right? So I think that's one step. I think, Night Fonz, thanks for stopping in, man. So I think another thing is,
I see Mad Hatters complaining about not having spring training. I think that as a sports fan, it does suck to expect your season, but they do. They need to straighten it out, and they need to make it more. They need to sell it. Right. They need to be salespeople. That's what they need.
Well, and this will all help though. Like I think putting a clock on the pitcher is good. I think the proposed one was if there was nobody on base, it's a 17-second clock, and if there's somebody on base, it's like 13 seconds they have to get their signal, throw the ball. That's going to help. Bigger bases.
They were whining about like pitch clocks and all that before.
So they've agreed. Actually, believe it or not.
Baseball. How long is a baseball game? You don't even know. You don't even know how long you'll be there. So I can get Red Sox tickets. I might be there for 2 hours. I might be there for 10.
Right. So the pitch clock will help, but you know what else is going to help? They honestly need to reduce the amount of innings. Instead of 9, you need to play 7.
Yeah.
Maybe even 5. But I think 7 would be okay. I think 7 would be good. You're going to cut about 30 or so minutes out of your game, maybe 35, because the end of the games tend to go a little bit longer because guys are more tired. It doesn't move as fast.
Weren't the minor leagues doing that anyway?
The minor leagues have instituted something which is actually working for them, and baseball agreed to this in the lockout, is bigger bases. So right now the current base is, I believe I'm trying to remember, I think it's 15 by 15, and they're going to increase the size to 18 by 18, which I know sounds ridiculous because you're like, what does 3 inches matter all the way around? But the minor leagues have found the bigger bases have led to more stolen bases and guys not having to shift as much, which is made for better play.
Yeah, makes the game more interesting. I swear the last
Amy, you are correct.
I swear the last feeder team game I went to was only 7 innings.
It could have been. I think 7 innings is ideal. So let's think about the day and times we live in, right? So everything happens like literally 4 to 5 times as fast as it did back in the 50s and 60s. So when you went to a baseball game, you didn't have to rush home. You didn't have to rush to a game to try to get it all in because you know what? your email wasn't an email. Your email was a handwritten or typed letter that had to go Pony Express that was going to take days to get where it's going. Not so much the case anymore. People want to go in. They want to be excited. They want to get in. They want to see a great game, and they want to get out. They don't want to spend 2.5, 3 hours at a baseball game. They want to spend like 2. So whatever you got to do to get you to like the 2-hour mark is what needs to happen. 3 inches can be very important.
Listen, I was thinking the same thing as Brian K. only on his last comment that he was about Gronk. That's a whole different
I saw that. We'll get to the NFL soon. So I really do think that baseball really has, I mean, the lockout is what it is, but they have a great opportunity to kind of hit the reset button here. And I think what you would see is if they took some of this and they implemented it even a little bit, not only is the game going to be reinvigorated for a modern generation, a younger modern generation, I think they would find the owners would start making more money because people are going to go, they're going to be more excited. They're going to go, hey, listen, instead of being here for 3 hours, I'm only here for 2 hours. So if I want my souvenirs, I need to go spend it now. And I really think they could make a crap ton more money by choosing to redo the game as it's played to a certain extent, you know, shortening things, especially cutting down the number of games. You need to put more weight on every game and every play in the season.
Well, think about it. It's not, and it's baseball's the biggest offender.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But even, you know, going back to your point of football being as popular as it is, as a regional fan, I'm concerned with 1 game a week. I bet that game it's never going to be as close as Monday to Thursday, but it could be Sunday to Thursday.
Right.
But I'm worrying about 1 game a week. Basketball, hockey, multiple games a week. Baseball, it's like 7. Like,
right?
Do I have a day off this week or do I not? You know what I mean?
And really, I feel like, so like football's a great example because they have the fewest number of games out of any major professional sport really going on, right? So you're right. As a fan, regionally, you really only care about your regional team for the most part. But as just an NFL fan, you seriously just keep watching at least the rest of the league to a certain degree. You're looking at scores, you're like, hey, what's their record? You don't do that with baseball. You know why? Because baseball, you're like, I can wait till the All-Star break and then I'll
And they're all in the same day. I mean, like,
right.
Football has the 2 days of the week, Monday and Thursday, which get cut off at the end of the season, but where there's only 1 game on, unless COVID. Weird years happen. But for the most part, you're really watching Sunday. That's 1 day. You can follow the whole league in like a day. In like a day.
Yep.
So,
you can't do that. Actually, you probably can't do that with really any of the other sports. But baseball is so far away from that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're lucky if you're catching 4 games in a night for basketball, or, you know.
And I would
say 2 hockey games tonight, like.
You know, and that was, so you guys got my rant about baseball early because I wasn't sure when we were going to bring up baseball, but let's start with it. So now I can get it out of my system, rant over.
I just couldn't ignore it.
Right.
I would say by far, baseball is my least favorite sport to follow because of that.
Yeah, I would agree at this point. Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just, it's not that.
And I loved playing it when I was younger. I loved playing baseball.
It's a good game. It's easy to follow. Like, I mean, I find that a lot of non-sports fans, they can follow baseball.
Yeah.
Whereas I have a lot of trouble teaching somebody the rules of football. I mean, like my 84-year-old grandmother was here one year and she said, like, I don't know why people watch this. And I explained football to her and she was like, thank you, because now it makes sense. I don't understand what they're doing. At least, like, you know, people have had gym class for 100 years in school, so they're in PE and they've played a game that involved a net and going one way or the other. So they get hockey, they get, you know, like they get that back and forth with the team soccer. We're going back and forth.
Like, all right,
we're going back and forth at the same time. Baseball is slower paced, so it's easier to explain to somebody, and most people have tried it before.
Yes.
Baseball, football is like a little foreign, so If you
A lot
don't
of
know
rules. There's lines everywhere. Where am I going?
what are they? What line are they on? You can't even tell. Like, I know because I'm paying attention, but does
Yes, and
grandma
more
know?
gambling.
Grandma don't know. So
More gambling interest in football. I agree, John. And the last notable thing after that tirade is I actually. Oh, what is that?
that's
That looks really
my
good.
fillet that I'm
The
don't mind me.
So the MLB went and locked into an agreement with Apple, and Apple is going to get 2 exclusive games every week on Friday to broadcast. And I think if I read into it correctly in the announcement, I think first of all the games are free, so you won't need to own a subscription to Apple TV. You'll be able to go and watch it. But I think those games are going to be the only 2 games on Friday. So Apple's starting to make a move to get into the sports business, which has been in their game plan for a long time. But all right.
I mean, they're not the only streaming service that or network channel type thing that
right.
the rights. Like, I mean, ESPN has Monday Night Football. This year, it was unless of course you're in the local market, that's a different thing. But Thursday Night Football was on Amazon Prime.
Yes. Yep.
So
let's see. I'm just going to scroll back here. Hello, Christine, Francisco. Anthony the Mola Man's here. What's going on? Thank you, Nicole. Hello, John V. Nice to see everybody here. We are talking our whacked out Sports Wednesday, which will really be the sports coverage, at least until football rolls back around. We get into Touchdown Tuesday with our fantasy stuff, which is actually only a few short months away because usually that stuff starts to pick up in August when training camp opens up.
I'm still in the football world. I can't wait until we get to that topic.
That's going to probably be the last one because I think we're both going to have a lot to discuss.
I'm going to go off.
Oh, my God. So in kind of going around the horn here, I saw something which was a little, I guess it was kind of interesting to a certain degree, only because it's going to be historic. Is that in the NHL, they now have a player that has moved up on one of the scoring boards, and Ovechkin is tied with Jaeger right now for 3rd all time, which is great.
Oh,
So,
no. Hey, Coach.
There you go.
Happening.
What's up, Coach? Yeah, it's just a little lag.
Yeah,
it happens.
I don't know. We went last minute. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
Yeah, long time no see. I didn't know that Sean was still doing this.
Oh yeah. I haven't been doing too much.
I just got
stuff.
invited back.
I've been trying to keep up with the Thursday night stuff, and we had our week in Disney a couple weeks back, which was great. So, yes, so that to me is interesting because that guy's got a little bit of leg left under him.
Who are you? I'm sorry. When you cut out, are you talking about PK Subban?
No.
I didn't hear what you said. Say it again.
Ovechkin.
Oh. Yeah,
Ovechkin.
What do you think, though? Do you think Subban's got any gas left in the tank?
Man, I don't know. So, there's that diehard in me.
I do.
That really says, like, man, you are still. I mean, I wouldn't say he's the youngest guy in the entire world, right? So you have to consider him a veteran at this point. But I would like to think that a player at his level has something left. He's got to have something left, even if their old man moves at this point. He's used goods. Coach says he's used goods. He's. But Ian, I would agree. I would think that he has got to be close to done because
he's talking about him in a trade chip. I don't know what he gets for him. What is he?
Hey.
33?
33 or 35, somewhere in there. So interesting.
I only heard half of it. I'm sorry, I took you in a different direction. He's 32. I'm sorry,
32,
I took you in a different
really?
direction.
No, that's all right. I do have a question since Coach is in here. Geritol can't keep him upright. Jack Eachel will be returning to the ice tomorrow night wearing a Golden Knights jersey. So I am kind of curious as to what some of our Buffalo fans think his reception will be. He's been on record saying he's got no, he's not bitter or has any angst towards the Buffalo franchise. But as we've seen in the past, sometimes when people return from where they came, especially in a different uniform, the welcomes aren't always grateful. Thankfully, we got rid of that punk.
It's a revenge, though. You don't think he's gonna be like skates on fire, though? I always worry about revenge games.
Yes, yeah. So I always feel like sometimes when and it happens in every sport.
Oh, yeah.
When the players return to where they used to play, especially if they were there for a long, long time, they have a lot of really good information about like how the schemes are done there and how plays are called and stuff. So I feel like, and that they're sharing that stuff in the locker room, whether it's on the record or not. So I always feel like when they show up, it is almost like a revenge game, and it puts, the place they're returning to almost at a disadvantage.
The only time I feel like
Coach should be cheering him on.
The only time I feel like there's no animosity is like maybe if there was a coaching change while they were gone, or there's a significant roster change. But even so, they can still have qualms with management people that got rid of them, and there's something to prove. If
it goes wrong for Jack, he'll be like he was in Buffalo. Oh man!
So many people when the money goes to their head, they turn into little bitches. I'm with you, Coach.
They do. Yep. So let's see. So that was that. Right now, there's a game at 8. Washington is playing Edmonton, and Montreal is at Vancouver. The Montreal Canadiens.
You know what I hate about hockey, though? There's only like half the teams that are maybe not even that are worth, watching. It's like,
well, and
there's a definite curve in ability.
Yes, there is. But I will say, so in recent years, hockey's really taken to trying to get really, really young guys in, which is great. And you see them bringing in what I feel like is players that are maybe years younger than what you would have seen going back a decade and a half ago, which is great because I think it makes the game a little more exciting. These guys are skating a little bit faster. They've got a lot more modern techniques than guys from even 20 years ago when hockey really started to get modernized. So it makes the game, I think, a lot more exciting to watch. The problem I have with hockey is that there are so many games. I just don't have enough time to watch them all because, I don't know, there is something that really just kind of gets me going when I see some guy get totally parlayed into like the glass. I'm like, yes, hit him again,
Yeah. The other sports I have a lot of trouble, and this is going back to your first 10 minutes. There's so many games I have trouble following much more than like the local teams.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. So the last two things I have is the NHL has now unveiled they're using a new logo for the Stanley Cup.
Saw that.
Which would be interesting. It looks really cool. I think it's a nice little upgrade. I mean, the classic look is always going to be the classic look, but it doesn't look bad. I like it. And I think probably one of the most notable things outside of Eachel return to Buffalo is the Blackhawks have a new general manager in Kyle Davidson. which is interesting because the Blackhawks are kind of in this. They're into this like rebuild stage, right? So and most major sports teams go through it. So so they hire this guy, and they hire him. He was actually the interim general manager because Stan Bowman, who was the former general manager, resigned from the post because he had been implicated with sexual assault charges against a former prospect, Kyle Beach. So
he's been in the organization for a long time though. He's been
Davidson's been in the organization for like 12 years.
Yeah.
You know, and he moved into like the assistant GM role back in like 2019. So he was there for both the Stanley Cup wins. I'm going to be very curious to see what he does because there's already rumors of them looking to not really like implode the team, but they are just really probably a couple of good trades away from being a really, really good hockey team again. So it will be very interesting to see, who they decide to, especially in the offseason, who they decide to ante up, because it all comes down to money and what you're willing to give up, just like any other sport.
I think that hockey more so than any other sport, maybe basketball, but I don't know, maybe because I've played basketball and I'm really terrible at skating on skates that I feel like hockey's harder.
I am
but I mean like, as far as you're saying like a couple trades off of being a good team, I'm thinking in my mind hockey is probably the sport that you need the greatest depth of bench.
Yeah, and they don't, and they're not as deep as like a football team.
What'd you say?
And they're not, and if you look, those teams are not as deep as a football team.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? So
I mean the exhaustion factor of having the multiple lines that go in and out.
Right.
People that
right.
You have to. Whereas football, as great as we're saying that it is, and that it's fast paced, there's time for you to chill out in between plays. So you have 30 seconds to take a break. 30 seconds, 30 seconds,
And a good AHL team, yeah, coach. That's exactly what it's coming down to, right? Definitely. Is you got your 20 guys, and you need a really good farm system.
Yeah, you don't have a farm, or you don't have anywhere to send back like injured players, and
right.
Come on. Well, think about the Bruins when they brought up Bruce Cassidy. Can you imagine if they didn't have him already?
Right. So, and speaking of the Bruins, there's all sorts of like.
I'm not even talking players. Like I'm talking the AHL system.
All kinds of rumors going on with them right now, but that's for probably a more localized thing because we could talk to local teams.
Because nobody's from here.
Right. Let's move on and let's talk a little NBA. And since you are a very big, obviously you are a local fan, like to the Celtics, because that is our team in the region. But you are a very big basketball fan in general. So
I was all right. I'm going to admit I was a bigger basketball fan in the past as a Celtics glory hound. Brad Stevens sort of has soured part of my view. Just when I think the Celtics, and they're doing great this year. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But just when I would think the Celtics were going to turn it around and they'd be worth watching, they would break my heart. So,
it's like the fishing. You almost got it with the dollar, right?
Yeah, like going from Doc Rivers to Brad Stevens was a letdown. And then
it wasn't it?
Now we're going to promote him, and I'm like, I feel like the last championship run was an accident. So what? Like, why are
Whoops, we accidentally won the whole thing. Imagine that.
Are you sure? Like, you trust this man? Because I do not.
I did hear a report that
Are you going to talk about Isaiah Thomas today?
we can.
Did you hear anything about him today?
I did not, but I did read a report that Wall was interested in returning to the Wizards. John Wall was interested in the offseason being traded back to the Wizards, considering that he has not played this season. He's healthy enough to do so, but they're giving a lot of the minutes to the younger players. I would be very this would be interesting to see, because if he's only played like 40 games in the last 3 seasons between circumstances, and like he's had some injuries and stuff. And when he was with the Lakers, he had a really good chance to kind of get up and going again. But he has come out and said, going back to the Washington Wizards, who now need a point guard, he would be open to. I would, if I was the Rockets, I would 100% trade them. I think the young guys are playing good enough where you can afford to trade Wall off, and now you're trading him for, maybe a first round pick and like some other guy that you want to develop down the D League. That is very, very interesting. And Wall comes with a $47 million deal. So I think that is probably going to be
that's a lot of money to trade off.
That's a lot of money, right? So I think that's going to be the sticking point with Wall, is that his salary's like $45 million, man. Who wants to eat that? That's a tough sell, Yeah. Purple Queen, what's going on?
Well, speaking of, Isaiah Thomas has been on 6 teams in the past some odd weeks.
Yeah, he's
on like 10-day contracts. But he let up a stink today. What's for I'm eating filet mignon from this takeout hibachi place.
Which is great.
It is great. But you know what's really sad? It's not as mid-rare as I asked for it to be, but I'm totally still going to eat it.
Coach, Celtics are your team too? Go Sonics?
Well, it says clerics, to be fair, so maybe we're talking about priests or something.
This has now become a holy stream.
Yeah, so I read a report today that Isaiah Thomas, like, where the hell's he been? What's he been doing? Like, I ain't heard shit. He broke his hip, and it was like, bye, get out of here. He was such a puss when he was here too. Like, all he ever wanted was like, here, give me the ball. No, thank you.
Although, so I guess we'll go with a little bit of local injected into this. So for the beginning of the season, right, the Celtics were like hot to trot, and then for I don't know what seems like half a season of games, they got wicked cold and stagnant. There's a lot going on between like Tatum and Brown, and they're not gelling or whatever. And I don't know what happened. I was listening to the radio the other day, and I was like, wow. They said that, somebody had, and I don't know if it was a player or whatever, somebody had gone and taken Tatum aside and said, listen, and it may have been the coach, said, listen, if you start giving the ball away more, you're going to get open more, so the ball's going to come back around to you, and you're going to score more. And since he has started doing that, this team lately has been on fire. Absolutely in fuego. Since he started doing that. And if you look, he's starting to get more assists now. And the more he gets assists, the more points he's scoring every game.
I think the Celtics, I'm going to give them a pass for this year. They kind of need to get their feet wet and figure out what it's going to do with them.
Yep.
It's a new system with Stevens moving up, new coaches, like old players have bad habits, and I feel like half of the crap is probably still coming from Brad.
Yep.
So
yep.
They really need to figure their own way first. And so I can accept I guess you'd call it haphazardous play. You know,
But it's getting the job done.
it's inconsistent. It's inconsistent. So, but he needs to build, like, as a coach, he needs to build his own team, and he's going to need to stand up to Brad, who's this little weenie that has. I don't know how we decided that Brad Stevens knew what he was doing.
I was just about to say, I think he needs to go.
I don't know how
He does.
he thought that was a great idea.
I don't understand why. You know, he did. All right, so he had a couple of good years coaching, but that does not translate well to being a GM all the time. And let's face it, the last several years he was here were not great.
No,
so why you would want to take him and put him in the big chair is beyond me.
How many sports teams sit on? I mean, like, how long was Brad Stevens the coach of the Celtics? I'm gonna look it up right now.
7 years.
God, it's gonna be like 8 years, right?
8 years, yeah, 7 or 8. Well, while you're looking that up, did you see that Sabonis got suspended?
No.
So for making contact with the ref, and if you go and watch the contact made, right, there was a foul called on him or whatever. So he was like, and he was yelling. And when he was literally like walking by. And when I tell you, they barely touched each other. 8 years. 8 years. Brad Stevens, 8 years. Yeah, I'm sorry. So I'll finish my thought. But if you go and look, you can find it on Twitter under the Action Network HQ. So if you go to Action Network HQ, you'll see they posted the video of the quote unquote contact. Did he touch him? I guess. But seriously, NBA, seriously, give me a break. Anyways, so yeah, I would say after 8 years,
it's hard to know. Like, you could brush me at 6'11" and you might probably knock me over.
He barely. I think his shirt barely touched him.
I didn't see it.
Oh, you should see it. It's incredible. But so going back to Brad Stevens, right? So like out of 8 years, he did have a couple of good years, but I don't think he had enough good years for me to go, hey, let's put him in the GM position.
No, I can accept a rebuild. Yeah. Like, on any team, any sport, I can accept a rebuild. Fine. Let me sit here and see. You need to do your own system. It's a different coach. The team was built for somebody else. You're probably going to lose players. Always, they retire. Like, the coach leaves and then players retire. Or they jump ship because they were there for the coach. Fine. Mm-hmm. You're going to build a different system? Fine. I'll give you 4 years. But 8? I mean, football. I'm trying to see this man body. Hey, Coaster Mom. I want to see this.
Oh, hey, Coaster Mom. Hi, Christine. Christina G's here. Oh, yes. That needs to be talked about.
What is it? Oh.
All right.
Who was it though? What did I hear on the radio? Was it LeBron wants to stay in the league long enough to play with his son? Yeah,
there was rumors of that. He's been talking about that for a while. I guess. I mean, his son's getting there.
His son's not even good.
No, his son's not
good great. Enough. Not good enough to get drafted out of high school. Like
no.
I mean, that means LeBron's going to stay in the league for what, another 5 years? And is he that?
I don't know. I don't know if he's got it in him. You can see him starting to break down 30, a little bit. But
36?
Yeah.
He's a moron.
Yeah, I don't know. So let's see here. NBA. Got anything else for the NBA? That's kind of all I really had.
Yeah.
You know, and actually, speaking of LeBron, he is coming back from injury. I think tonight. Coming back from his knee injury. I think he's supposed to return. We'll see if it actually happens. So let's see. I know where this is going. Where do you want to start? Let's start the NFL because
Calvin Ridley. Let's start with Calvin Ridley.
He's literally on my hit list. Can we just talk about that whole situation? So, for those of you that don't know, Calvin Ridley has been suspended for the year because he got caught gambling. And it's not so much the gambling part as it was gambling on his own team. Not to lose, to win when he was not playing because he was home to rehab his mental health.
And not like, I'm not playing this week for funsies.
Like not playing.
I'm not playing for an unknown amount of time.
Right.
But to be, I mean, I saw a meme that was like, Adrian Peterson, like felony.
Now you're going down the road I was going to go down with this topic. No, really though.
Suspension 2 months.
So, and how he
Calvin Ridley, sports gambling on his phone. 1 year.
1 year, right? Wait, his son could play for Flint, Michigan Tropics. Coach, that's funny. So funny thing with the NFL. So the NFL does have a whole section dedicated to policing gambling websites to make sure that none of the players or the staff or the coaches or anybody associated with the NFL is gambling. And how Ridley got caught is he gambled under his own name on what was it, like DraftKings or something like that.
Like everything that we've ever gambled on.
But he used his real name. Mean,
yeah, but
and it was only $1,500. Not, I mean, I shouldn't say it like that, but you know,
there's probably like 4,500 people that have some version of Calvin Ridley in their username.
Right. So obviously the NFL is hard at work, and this got picked up on. He got thrown under the bus. But you bring up a good point.
I heard that they were maybe making him a scapegoat.
Right. So you bring up a great point, right? Is he cost me the fantasy season. Coach is bent at him. Cost him his fantasy.
Yeah. Pro tip, coach, don't draft him next year.
So, I mean, you bring up a great point.
My magic ball says he's going to
do terrible.
Spot.
The NFL is really so inconsistent when it doles out justice. You have guys that have like been convicted of like assault, battery, and they go and they get like a half a season suspended, and then that gets watered down to like 4 or 5 games because they've rehabbed or whatever. And here's this guy who, let's face it, in the grand scheme of things, $1,500 even to somebody like him is like chump change. That's like a couple of bucks to us, right? And now they're going to drag this kid out and suspend him for a year. You have people like Johnson who get like hooked in and banned for 6 years because he was found with marijuana on his system and on him. And yet here's poor little Calvin Ridley, a little $1,500 bet. And they're like, oh no, you're suspended for a season.
What do you think? Like, I blame Roger Goodell.
It's 100% Roger Goodell and his henchmen.
I just don't know. Like, I mean, when are they going to change? First of all, I think this was a warning shot. I think it was. I mean, how many players are in the NFL? Do you think, honest to God, that they all don't? I know you got one rule: don't bet on.
Right.
In the NFL, you can bet on any sport.
Right.
You want. You can't
just
bet
don't
on
bet. And it's like that with every sport, and you know that going in. So part of me wonders.
But do you think that honestly he's the only player that?
No.
Right.
But the other players are using.
Maybe there's like some big name that's out there that they're saying. Dave.
Oh, I mean, yeah, there could be, but
they're saying like, "Hey, watch your shit because we're watching you." So we're gonna pull this guy who's not. I mean, he's a name that you'd know if you were an NFL fan to say like, "Hey, we are watching you. We caught this guy. He might not have played next season anyway, but just so you know, like."
Right. So part of me, right. So based on just that, him not playing next week, is David Portnoy's to blame. So part of me wonders though, right? So he's a young kid, and he is right. He's been in the league for 2 years, 3 years, right? So he's still technically under his rookie contract, which I'm sure he's making fantastic money anyways. But a guy like him to only bet $1,500, Guys like him that have all that sort of money, they bet like 10 grand at a time. So part of me wonders if he still kind of maybe feels like he needs help and he wanted to get caught so he could have a year off to kind of straighten out whatever's going on in his world so he could get back to playing.
I agree, Coach. He would see, like, maybe it is kind of what Sean's saying,
Sucking
but
his
I
thumbs
don't
again.
think. Yeah, I don't think he would have been back
You know?
anyway.
No.
For the
No.
if he had been out this year when he said like, "Hey, I'm going out for mental reasons," if he had been out like 3 games, I would have been like, "Oh, well, maybe." Like, just needed to clear
Yep.
his head.
Yep.
But the fact that it was a whole season he was out, and to be honest, like, who the hell wants to be on the Falcons anyway? So
Yeah, I'm sure that doesn't help.
yeah, I'm
Right?
sure that's extra depressing. So I could see that if you're suffering from some kind of mental crisis, and it's depressing to be on the team.
Being
that
on
you're
the Falcons is not helping.
Yeah, it's definitely not a
Man.
positive aspect.
Right? Like,
Now,
seriously.
if you were on the Denver Broncos and you were getting Russell Wilson,
Right?
you might be a little bit more excited.
So,
Happy Jerry Judy time.
happy the Judy chop. So,
Did you
and
hear that deal? It was like, I didn't catch the whole thing, but it was like 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a 5th, Drew Lock, and somebody else.
3 players. Locke, Fant, and
Fant went?
Harris? Is that what I saw?
I'm gonna
Let
look
me
it up.
see.
Russell-
I'm going to look it up right now because I was reading it and I meant to write it down.
I didn't see Fant went through. Holy crap.
Right? So here's the thing. Like, so Russell Wilson. Coach, you're hitting the nail on the head where I'm going with
still
this.
looking to see what the
So
actual trade
Russell Wilson, although I would say is still a good quarterback. I think you would be crazy to say no if he was going to come to you.
I don't think. You know what? I would go ahead. I don't think Russell spent goods, but we'll go on. Go ahead.
I don't think he's cooked, but I do think obviously he's not what he used to be because he is older. His body has taken a beating. I would still be like, yeah, come on, let's play. But I do think that the Broncos overpaid for him.
All right, let's see. Shit, you're right. So the Broncos got Russell Wilson in a 4th round.
And I think this year, the 2019 pick is one of the
but this is who I heard. I heard Shelby Harris. So
Harris, that's it. Harris,
that's who I had. I
one.
didn't see Fant. So
Yep.
The Seahawks needed a tight end anyway. So Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a 5th.
Right, and the first round pick, right? You get a first round, 2 of them, and the one they're getting this year is the number 9 spot.
Yeah, but
so
I feel like,
they get this year's and next year's.
I don't know. I think I'll be curious to see what happens now. Like, I mean, I know that it's early, dude.
So they're gonna have
the. Think about it. So you know what was really interesting to me is that the rumors were flying about possibly getting Aaron Rodgers to go to the Denver Broncos.
Yes.
And here,
yes.
Was this Monday that this happened? Was this Monday?
This trade?
Yeah. Was it yesterday?
This trade was yesterday. Yeah.
So we hear in the morning that Aaron Rodgers has signed a 4-year contract with the Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
And then we hear like 2 hours later that Russell Wilson's going to the Broncos. Like,
and you're like, what?
Because I thought, I mean, what is it? Their assistant coach or something like, or the quarterback's coach from the Packers is now on the Broncos, and they were like, oh, we might lure in,
yes,
Aaron Rodgers, which
quarterback coach.
But you know what? Honest to God, good riddance. I wouldn't want Rodgers. You're talking.
He's toxic.
That Russell Wilson has spent. Rodgers is worse. I would rather not have. I mean, yeah, he's a great player, but he's not a team player.
Rodgers still has a great arm with accuracy. He's lost mobility, and he is toxic right now for your locker room.
Yeah,
something terrible.
He's
but
a loose cannon.
I really think that the Broncos overpaid for Russell Wilson. Now, I could see though, like,
The Broncos
Russell Wilson,
they've been in a quarterback spiral. They pulled in Teddy
have
Bridgewater
been.
last year. They thought they had something with Drew Lock, which is crap. You know, they've been down spiraling since Manning retired.
Yes, they have. And so I think, like, for Russell Wilson, I would have probably given up some 2 out of the 3 players in some combination. And I don't think I would have given up
I think
Fant.
he was worth the picks and Lock.
And so I think I would have gave up like Drew Lock and probably Harris. And I'd give him next year's first rounder and maybe a second rounder. And that would have been it. But to give them what they get, 4 or 5 picks plus all 3 of those players,
yeah,
that's too much.
So, but for the Seahawks' sake, Lock is an insurance policy. He is not their solution. They're gonna have to draft. They're gonna have to draft or like get Garoppolo or something like that. Although it doesn't sound like Garoppolo's gonna end up there. I haven't really heard anything.
I'm hearing he might end up at the Colts.
I did. That was one of the ones I heard. I also heard the Dolphins potentially,
which I think is a better fit than the Colts at this point.
I also
much as I don't want to play them, but
potentially
4 year, $200 million. John V, I would agree that 4 years at $200 million for Rodgers is 100% crazy.
At Rodgers' age and his ability does not seem. In years past, I would have said like, "Oh yeah, Rodgers can carry the team. He can carry the team." He has not exhibited that ability in 2.5, 3 years.
Nope, he needs Adams. If Adams didn't, so they
but Adams ain't a spring chicken either.
No, but without Adams, I think Rodgers is definitely doomed. Adams is what has saved Rodgers.
I think
a couple of years.
Real sad this year because there's gonna be definite touchdown regression for them. They had a great year,
and they just franchised Adams today.
Did they?
Yeah, they put the franchise tag on him. Who knows what they're going to negotiate for his contract, but.
So this is what I mean. Like, I know this is going back to the beginning of it, but like, I can follow football all year because there's always something happening that sparks your interest.
Mm-hmm. Seriously.
As far as the Patriots released Van Noy this week, which I don't know if that's some kind of I don't know if that's a play to get him back for less money because nobody else is going to take him.
Maybe. I think they're going to start looking at younger linebackers.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's old and washed. But
yeah, they all are. That whole linebacker core is all old dudes.
The defensive rebuild. But you know what? Like, weird like, do you think that if you were the Patriots, do you think that you should have been in on, like, the Russell Wilson market? Do you believe in Mac Jones enough? Do you think that Mac Jones is better? Maybe long term he might be worth more, but as a Patriots fan, I'm not sold that he is going to be the solution for the future.
I don't think, like, when you talk about the Patriots, I don't know if anybody would do great in this offense, no matter who you put at quarterback right now, to the point where they're going to carry you to a Super Bowl because the receiving core is that trash. Now, if you get me a true number one wideout, and you keep a couple of the guys, like maybe you keep Myers and one other, right? And you see how they do then, because I think part of the problem is Mac's okay, but he's young. He needs to grow a lot. But I think a large part is they have receivers that have trouble running routes, that don't get separation. You need that number one to open up the defensive backfield.
I don't know if we need a one. I think one of the big problems that we had this year is that we overpaid for Jonnu Smith.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Who underperformed. I thought it was great. It was great that we were getting Jonnu, we were getting Henry. I thought, wow, we're trying to rebuild, Gronk and Hernandez. Like, we're building a Patriots team for I don't know which quarterback. Maybe we're secretly trying to lure Brady back. I don't know what's happening, but so and the receivers that we had, they're totally Bill's style, where he would bring in somebody that might be a good long shot, might be secret great kind of deal. But I think I don't think we're missing a one. I think we're missing a slot, which in the Patriots offense is your one. but
Yes, yes.
in a
They're
normal
looking at
offense,
who's the kid in
it's
college they were
DK
looking at.
Metcalf or something.
They were looking at who's the kid at the combine. I can't remember his name now. That the Patriots were checking out, and the kid gave an interview where he said that he really watched and studied like Wes Welker and stuff, and Bill was interested in him because the kid had a very similar playing style. With oh gosh, I'm gonna have to look it up. But Coach Malik Willis, like you're talking about the kid from the Liberty Flames from the AFL, that Malik Willis, and I think Tyler Lockett, I think Metcalf. I think if they're willing to get rid of Wilson,
They won't.
I think there could be the potential for people to make offers for anybody. I don't think anybody's off. I don't think anybody is out of the realm of come at us with a deal. We may not accept it, but at least offer something.
I don't think this. Think about the hell's his name there? The coach. I can't think of his name. A little short guy. Was our coach. I see his face. I can
Sorry,
see it.
I'm focused on Malik Willis.
Malik Willis is a
Malik
draft.
or
He's
Malik?
Isn't he like a college prospect?
He was with Auburn before he transferred over into Liberty back in 2019. Coach thinks he's gonna be a Seahawk.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
Pete Carroll. Okay, see, it's been too long. It's been too many months. So
Pete Carroll. What about Pete Carroll?
I was trying to think of Pete Carroll's name.
Oh.
Do you think that the Seahawks are going to try to rebuild without Russell? I don't. I think their team's ready with a decent quarterback that you they are. They're contenders.
Maybe.
If they keep Metcalf, they keep Lockett. Now they've got Fant. They've got a real tight end. They're not playing with Disley.
Yeah, I just think that if they're willing to do that with Russell, then nothing is off the table over there right now. Not to say that they're going to do anything, but
the only thing that doesn't smell right over there is how old Pete Carroll is. I'm just saying, like it's not a team that seems like they're unless there's something we don't know about Carroll himself. It doesn't seem like the oldest coach in the NFL is magically going to rebuild a team at this point.
Is he the oldest coach right now? He is. Because he's got to be what, like 72?
He's like a year older.
71? Because I think Bill turns like 70 this year.
Pete Carroll was born September 15th. He's 70.
70. He looks pretty good for 70.
69.
Yep.
So,
you know what else is I'm hearing rumblings is that there is some chatter focused on Kirk Cousins out of the Vikings.
Yeah, they were talking, but I thought that they committed the new coach of the Vikings.
But who would really want him? Like where does he fit? I guess. Where does he fit?
He's mediocre. I mean, he came from the
right.
So
right, and think about how many mediocre quarterbacks there are. So why are you going to trade?
Well, if I'm the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or I'm the Dolphins, or I'm afraid of Matt Ryan being a little old, or I'm losing Jimmy, but I'm not sure that I believe in Trey.
Coach, that's funny.
I might want. Kirk Cousins is an upgrade from all of those quarterbacks that they currently have as the number one for those teams.
Yeah.
In fact, he could be an upgrade for the Patriots. He's an upgrade for
he could
be, or at least like a strong presence of a veteran that could teach Mac something.
Yeah.
He's a better quarterback than Jones in New York.
What about going to the Texans?
Well, they need a quarterback. They don't even have a quarterback.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Maybe the Texans.
He'd be an upgrade to the Jets. He'd be welcome with open arms back to Washington. Like there's so many. There are a lot of teams that is the piece.
Send them to the Bills.
No. In fact, speaking of the Bills, they have quite the insurance policy in Trubisky. I think if they really wanted,
They do.
Trubisky is an upgrade for half.
They
these
do.
teams.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
He's a great backup there.
Cousins is a solid play. I don't
Teach him to lose.
I don't think they're gonna get rid of him. I thought that the new coach said that like he wanted to keep him.
Oh, did he?
I
know that there was a lot of talk late last week and into like Monday about, him possibly maybe
there was
ending
a
up.
mention, but I thought that when the new coach is O'Connell, I thought that he had committed to Cousins.
Yeah, he may have. Did you see where Carson Wentz is now with the Washington Commandos? I like to call them.
No.
He got
Jimmy Garoppolo's going to the Colts.
Yes, because Wentz got traded to the Commanders today.
That's not. So what you're telling? He's still. Let me go back 2 minutes.
They traded a first.
Kirk Cousins would still be an upgrade to Washington.
Yes, he would. I would take him in a second over Wentz.
No, is it Commanders? I thought it was like Senators.
No, it's the Commanders. That was the name that they finally settled on. But Carson Wentz for a first and a third round pick, way overpaid for Carson Wentz. Not worth the first rounder.
That Washington pick is mid-round, isn't it?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Unless they traded it away. I would
have maybe a second and a third, maybe a couple of thirds and a fourth or something.
What did the Colts give up for him last time? It's only been a year.
I am not sure. I would have to go back and look.
I didn't think Frank Reich was ready to give up.
No,
on
the first and the third round pick was what they gave up for Carson Wentz. For the Colts. The Colts gave up a first and a third for Wentz. Yes. Yeah.
What did Washington give to get him?
I'm trying to look that up right now. Because I read it like right before I flipped the camera on. I was like, what? Wentz got traded. And sure enough, and let's look this up. The Wentz trade. Which is a funny looking thing anyways. But yep, so they're gonna get him. Let's see. They got him. The Commanders are sending so this makes a little bit more sense. 2 third-round draft picks. And the Commanders are going to take on all of his remaining salary, which is actually quite hefty. They're gonna pay out like $28 million to Wentz this year, and that includes a $5 million roster bonus during the next week.
28's not that bad.
No, and the interesting thing with Wentz is that I believe in his contract, if he plays in 70% of his games next year, so this coming season, I think there's some sort of like huge incentive that they're going to have to pay out on top of it just for him playing. Never mind his performance. All he's got to do is just show up and clock in.
I'm over here. I see Riverboat Ron can make
Riverboat Ron. Yeah,
you know what? It's the God's honest truth, though. If there is a coach that's going to make a mediocre quarterback shine like a new penny, it is Ron Rivera.
It is. So, yep. And he has a history of it.
How good he's done over the past couple of years in Washington with trash.
Yep. Even year after year.
I thought he did quite well his last year in Carolina with Kyle Allen. Like,
yeah,
who?
He did.
Who is that?
He did. He made him look good.
Yeah,
he really did.
And I think that I think Wentz is better than. Well, I'm about to make a statement that I can tell you right now. You're
gonna regret this. I can hear it coming.
I think If nothing more, he probably don't quote me. Don't quote me. He probably throws less interceptions than Ryan Fitzpatrick. So, but watch him prove me
maybe,
wrong this year. I'm just saying that.
maybe.
Out loud.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so at least there's that. I mean, I feel like he protects the ball a little bit better. Washington's defense is phenomenal. So
what do you think about how do you think McDaniels and Carr are going to do this year over in Raiderville?
I think McDaniels is a clown.
I have to agree. I think he's a
think
terrible play caller, but that's just me.
I can't wait to see it on a team that was doing better. They're about to go regress 4 years.
I don't particularly care for his
I think
play calling.
it's sad because I think that with is it Gruden that did it? I don't know. It's probably a combination of that the system is set up kind of right for the NFL.
Yeah.
It does a good job of keeping, except for like weird flukes like the Patriots winning forever.
Right.
But it does a good job of trying to level the playing field. So I don't know. I don't want to give John Gruden all the credit, but I feel that like the picks that the Raiders have gotten over the past few years and the trades that they've made have worked out for them well enough that their team has gotten better. But I think that you're about to hand over the keys to a criminal. and he's going to crash the Ferrari. It's happening.
I am just, and I didn't realize this, but geez. So I'm going to get off of.
You're right, Coach.
Talking about Wentz.
He has some kind of magical ability to do well when he really needs to and prove himself.
Yeah.
That Wentz doesn't.
So, the closest thing we have now to getting back.
But you know what? It's not going to look any different, Coach. Carr was like playing the game by himself last year anyway. So basically, he's going to be doing that now.
And then to throw his receivers. Yeah.
He's not going to know what to do, but he's going to be calling the plays himself. He doesn't know it yet. But
wash, rinse, repeat. So the closest thing we have now to returning to NFL is the draft, right? I did not realize the Eagles have 3 picks in the first round, okay? And they have, listen to where their picks land. Pick 15, 16, and 19.
Yeah, but
wow.
But what does that mean to you? That means that they've got to roll good dice.
That means they get 3 top
They got 3
20
chances
picks.
to roll a good dice, but it's not. That's not always play out.
So now, if you're the Eagles,
Nikhil Harry.
if you're the Eagles, though, so if I'm the Eagles and I'm looking to get some stuff done, I honestly, since I've got 3 first-round picks,
there's no guarantee stuff gets done.
I'm thinking that I'm taking 1 or 2 of these picks and trading them for a veteran that's out there and available.
Oh, hell yeah. Yes. I'll give you all
why am I going to hang on to 3 first-round picks? I don't see the value in it.
I mean, how many first-round picks are trash? Yeah, Coach, they got to give at least 2 away. Come on.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Eagles,
I would.
I don't know what's wrong with the Eagles, but it's not. I don't think it's the players on the team. It's got to be. It's the coaching. So
the coaching on up.
What really do they need?
A new owner.
I don't think you trade that for picks.
we should try. We should see. Maybe this would be a first.
I don't think that's how that works exactly.
Although everybody has their, here's the projected of who's picking who, fantasy draft stuff. What I thought was interesting is that if you were to look through, say, I'm looking at the CBS one currently, but a lot of these fantasy draft things that are going on have a majority in the top, I'll say the top 15, a majority of the players are defensive this year, considering that it seems across the league, a lot of teams are just struggling for really decent receivers to come off the bench to build up. So to not see a lot of wideouts is incredible. They got the Patriots picking up Daxton Hill. I'm like a safety. We don't.
Think
I don't
about
know.
what I mean. The past 3 drafts have been so heavily offensive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, players are coming up all the time, but
So now, right?
I
So
mean,
you
like
get
you're not getting another Trevor Lawrence out of this.
these guys are predicting the Patriots to pick up Daxton Hill. So does that mean you get rid of somebody else and keep him and Jackson? Imagine them two out in your backfield, in your defensive
You're
backfield.
not keeping Jackson. You think they're gonna?
I don't think so. I don't
No,
think they're going to
not.
be able to afford him.
No, they didn't franchise him, so
And his price tag is going to be huge after the year he just had. It's going to be
yeah.
massive.
No, this is a Bill Belichick saying, "I picked you up off the street.
That's
Nobody wanted you.
next
I'm not
man
paying."
up. Yep.
Yeah, that's what
Next
he's
man up.
So let somebody else pay for him, and let somebody else. And to be honest, watching him every week, he's been great this year. But there have been many times that over the past couple of years that I've wished he was Stephon Gilmore. And he's not. He's not. You see his hands go out, and for all the what you see in highlights, you're missing the rest of it. You're missing the rest of the game where he's not what he seems like he is.
I think Hill would be a great grab, personally, but he'll be a Steeler. Coach thinks he'll be a Steeler.
It really makes me sick to try to rely on a rookie grab and hope that they pan out.
So, if you're going into the draft and you are the Jacksonville Jaguars, what position do you think you're looking at first? Because a lot of them have them going for Evan Neal, who is the linebacker out of Alabama. I don't know if that's who I'm going for if I'm the Jaguars.
Let me.
I really feel like I'm either drafting maybe the number 1 quarterback or some sort of skilled position player.
Draft a quarterback after you just drafted the first quarterback?
Yep. Because obviously we didn't get the job done this year.
What did you just say? Evan Neal?
Yeah, Evan Neal. He's the linebacker from Alabama.
Yeah, so he's offensive is what I'm looking at. Yeah, that's I don't know.
Right?
I believe this. I don't believe you. I believe these projections. I think that they need to protect Trevor Lawrence. They're going to get Travis Etienne back, hopefully.
Or maybe pick up either a running back or maybe even an offensive lineman.
They had 2 first-round draft picks last year. One was a quarterback and one was a running back who got injured in the. He didn't even play in the preseason.
He didn't play. No, he got hurt like week 1 of like preseason or something, didn't he?
But Travis Etienne was like potentially projected to go above Najee in the drafts last year. And Najee I know Coach Trevor Lawrence isn't doing it for the Jaguars the way they are at this moment.
Right. So what do they need? That's the question. Is it a line? Is it a receiver? They need a coach.
Yeah,
they do. The coaching is terrible.
I can't give it's sort of like me with the Celtics this year. I'll give them a pass. They don't have a system set in place, and Shad Khan is begging and pleading and trying to get people in there, but you need to. I mean, you see it everywhere. The coaches have their system, and it's the way that they're going to work.
Who's a good coach? Who's a good fit there? I think is now the question.
Hey,
obviously,
who should go there? Pete Carroll should jump ship.
Really, you think so?
Why the hell not? There's a young talent down there. He could build a new team.
It's true.
Look at what I
retired to Florida.
What I've done to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I've turned them around. I'm the greatest coach of all time.
We're getting on the phone.
Bye.
We're getting on the phone right now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
No, did they must have picked one. I haven't been following.
Here's our lead draft analyst, Daniel Jeremiah.
What is happening?
Max. Hello, Max. What is happening? Did the
Jaguars pick a coach?
Yes. They replaced
Doug Peterson.
There we go. Doug Peterson. No idea. No idea who that guy is.
He was the coach of the Browns.
I was kind of hoping they were going to take like Joe Judge or somebody, but
No,
that didn't happen.
Nobody wants Joe Judge.
Neither do we, but it was just a really good place to ship him to.
So,
No.
let's turn this around. They should have picked a better coach.
They
And
should
the
have.
answer is no matter who they draft, they're gonna suck again.
They are,
They're gonna suck.
unfortunately. Philly moves south. Team goes south. That's right. That's right. All right. Final thoughts. You have anything? Worldly, sports, or otherwise? Nothing.
I got nothing.
No. I have
You've
nothing
shaken
myself.
my soul enough for one evening.
I guess the only thing I have, which I did read, so unrelated to sports, was Disney said they are no longer going to have max capacity.
Thank God.
Right? So at first I went, oh man, that means you're just going to let the dog run wild. Let everybody in? Nope. They're going to operate from now on at reduced capacity from what was pre-COVID max capacity in some way, shape, or form. So, which is good and bad, right? It's good because there are supposedly less people there, but it's going to be bad because guess what's going to happen? While you can buy a ticket, all those weeks everybody likes to go down there. So like we obviously live up here in New England. So you're talking February, April, right? Christmas break, holiday weekends. All your park reservations are going to be gone. Just like they are for spring break right now. That's the only downfall.
I assume Disney meant the same downfall of every industry where they're probably struggling for staff.
Oh, very much.
So to go through the pandemic at a limited capacity and then, hey, what a great idea. Let's open back up. Oh, crap. We can't keep up.
Yep. And now nobody wants to go back to work there either. They're
and
struggling.
Nobody's going to want to go there if it's a crap show when you get there. Like, I'm not going to pay Disney.
You're not kidding.
I don't even know. I know you just went. I'm not going to give you $100 a day to go into your park when, you know what I mean? When I can't even get on a ride or I can't even walk. Like, no, thank you.
It was very crowded. I mean, we had a good time. We got on a lot of rides, but it was like old marching band days crowded. So I don't know what kind of BS they were spewing that crowds weren't at capacity, but there were some of the biggest crowds I've ever seen there when it came to like Disney Springs.
174 for a day, Coach. That's what I was just asking Sean. I don't know. I haven't been there since.
Yeah, it's expensive. It is expensive. So the prices are going to go up.
Is that if you only went for one day though? Like if you went for one day, is it 174?
Yeah, depending upon the day you go.
But
they have that surge pricing.
It's still less if you got like a 5-day pack or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like the price goes down the more days you buy, you know. So I thought that was some interesting news that had come out. I think it was yesterday that they said, they're going to keep diminished capacity, which means they're going to raise prices because they need to make up money. Bob Paycheck is all about his money making machine, you know. But outside of that, that's all I got.
They can. I would, they should buy me dinner at that price.
Yeah, they should. They really should.
At least give me free water. I mean,
free water.
Yeah, I mean,
well, free non-Florida tap water because.
Or can you give me the free Florida water in a resealable bottle?
It's still Florida water. Though.
I take it. No, man, I take it.
It's gross.
I'll bring my own Mio. Squeeze
go
it.
To Legoland. The coach says go to Legoland. Oh, absolutely.
Hey, I almost died just going to Disney Springs for a hot minute for no cost.
Hey, there were so many people at Disney Springs when we went. I can't even begin to tell you. There had to be 100,000 people there.
Oh yeah,
I'm not kidding.
Us too, and it wasn't even prime time. I mean, it
was bad. It was bad.
No thanks.
Right. Wow. So I guess that's going to wrap up our first Wednesday, which was great. It'll only get better from here.
We should get some special guests for each sport.
We should. I was thinking of maybe seeing. I know Sam Welb B12 is he's a very big hockey guy. Maybe we can even get Pete McDivitt on here one night, and I have some other resources. We're gonna tap. We'll bring in a couple of different people, talk about some sports with them, and have some guest appearances. John V, that place is great. I remember going to Gatorland before it was what it is today. It was still in its infancy, and it was a shell of what you know as Gatorland today. So, from myself, from the co-host, we thank everybody for being here. So this is our first Whacked Out Wednesday, our Whacked Out Wednesday sports. So, and then, like I said, come probably like August, when they really get into NFL training camps, we are probably going to return with our Touchdown Tuesdays, because that's a bunch of fun.
Okay, whatever you want.
Make sure you've hit that like button. If you're rewatching this and you are not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. Tomorrow. So tomorrow is our Tin Can Thursdays. So I got a couple of craft beers that we're gonna try. It'll be I'll probably be streaming right around 8:30, right around the 8:30 area, and we're gonna have a good time. So I hope to see you all there. Nice seeing everybody, and I can't say the same for the other host. Thanks, Coach.
Coach,
That happens a lot wherever we go. All right, y'all. We will catch up with you all later. Thanks for being here. Bye, everybody.